Hey, welcome back guys. Let's make that tutorial on the login registration system with PHP. I'm going to leave a link in the description for this blog I got, so you can kind of follow along. We got some steps. We're not going to follow them all at the bottom, but for the most part we're making a most basic login system with PHP. So our first step is let's create a database named users, or you can call it what you like, and a table called users table with 4 columns. So that's our first step. So we're going to go to PHP MyAdmin. We can actually copy right here below the picture localhost / PHP MyAdmin. So let's copy that. I'm going to paste it in. Database runs kind of slow sometimes. So PHP MyAdmin, you should already have XAMPP installed. You know the basics of PHP for this course. So database is, you can call it what you like I said, so I'm going to call it YouTube toot underscore login. Okay, I'm going to hit create. Now it's going to ask you how many columns. So let's see, email, username, and password. So 3 plus the ID is 4. Let's call the table users underscore 4 tutorial. We'll call it whichever you like, just call it like it says on the blog. Let's see, connect to a server. So we got some code we can actually copy and paste right here. This is how we connect to the database from our website. But let's see. First, now that that's created, okay, ID. And then we got, what is it? Email, username, password. Email, username, and password. For the ID, just scroll to the right and hit AI for auto increments. Just hit go. Leave that at integer. Email, let's make that a varchar. And you have to set the length value always. So just put 250 always. Username is also varchar 250, and password varchar 250. Okay, scroll to the bottom and the right, click save. Okay, our database is created. You see we got the 4 columns. Okay, back to our tutorial. Okay, yeah, so we copied this here. We're going to connect to the server. So let's open up Visual Studio Code. Let's see, where does that go? Let me pull this over here. So create a folder called con in the file db.php to store in your database credentials. So, well, yeah, first of all, let's remember to what do we want to call our websites. So let's go open file, open folder. We got to go into our C drive. Let's go into our examp, htdocs, and click new folder. Takes a while to load, so let's call it tutorial underscore login folder. Call it whichever you like. So select that folder and open it in our Visual Studio Code. Okay, let's make that folder. So create a folder. Call it con, which is short for connection. And inside there, we're going to make a file db.php. And let's paste that in. Control V. Okay, so we got a server name, which is localhost. That's what we're using. User is usually root by default. Password and the name of our database, actually. What do we call it? YouTube toot. YouTube underscore login. Okay, that's all we gotta do. It's all set. We got our server name, user, password, and then our database. So don't forget to hit save and close that up. Let's so looking back at our blog, it says with MySQL you're going to need to enter the host user data. So create registration form with attributes to submit. We're going to make sure there's a method and an action of post unless you're using fetch or Axios or Ajax. Make sure the inputs and button you want to grab have the same attributes so your API can get the value after you submit the form. So basically, let's just copy this form, hold that on our clipboard. You can close that database off. Let's create a file. We're in the root index.php. Let's do it HTML5. We're gonna login system. Okay, so within our body, let's Control V that in there. This is the register form. We're going to do register first because you got to, of course, create a user before you can actually log in. So our form basically has a class, an action of index.php, so it's submitting to itself. It has a method of post. This is important. Just in H2, we have a type, email, text, password, and a submit button here. Has a name. These are the name attributes. These are very important because this is how we grab the information that we submit to the page. And there's our forms. So what we're going to do is save that. I'm going to pull this over here and open this back up. database. And I'm changing the password. And whatever your password is in your local host, go ahead and set that. So we're going to handle the submission of our registration. That's step 4. But first, let's actually go to type in localhost / and then whatever we called our website. So login _ toot / login tutorial. Oh no, it's tutorial _ login _ folder. And tutorial login folder PHP. Oh, it's not PHP, my admin. Localhost / and there we go. It's very basic. It's just this is for learning the fundamentals of a login system with PHP. So okay, what does our tutorial say? Yeah, we're going to handle the submission of registration. So let's open back up our Visual Studio Code. We're going to go to the top of our HTML and let's get some space. Let's do a opening PHP tag. Down here, let's close it off. So in our, let's copy this all, number 4. We're gonna have to change some things, of course. And okay, right here, just below, Control V. See how we required our database connection. This is supposed to be, well, we can just, yeah, keep that session for now. Don't worry about this for now. That's for when we actually log in. But, so we got if is set post submit registration, which is the our submit, and then we require our database. We catch email, the username, the password. Okay, and so we got some validation here. So if they're empty, if we have an empty email, username, or password, it's going to go location, index PHP. Then we're going to check if the email exists on the database already. So we run a query. Select all from users table where email equals email. Now, we didn't call it users table, remember? Let's look at our local host. Alt tab. We call our database users _ for tutorial. So leave the underscore and just put for tutorial. So we're checking if check all from users for tutorial where email equals email. Make sure we spelled it all right. Users underscore, okay, yeah. Okay, then underneath that we run the query, so result equals con query user underscore check query. Okay, now that we're checking the query, we're gonna say if result num rows is greater than 0, there's a message here, email or username already exists. Else, well, let's explain this message here. We gotta go down to let's go underneath where it says register and let's do some PHP. Let's say if message exists, basically. Echo message. Let's close that off. Well, what is this error? Oh, don't forget to put the semicolon. We will echo message if message. Alright, so back up here. So otherwise, we will insert into our user table. Don't forget to change that. Control V, email, username, and password. That will insert the values. So we put these variables surrounded by single quotes, separated by commas, and then result, and then we run the query SQL. So let's save that. Tab, go to our login system, refresh, undefined variable, of course, message on line 52. We're getting an error because it's not defined. So what'll help is, let's define that message now. We can actually define it. You know what? Let's just take that away for now. I'm not going to deal with it. It's not that important right now. Alright, so let's try to register. Username, call it admin, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Submit. Let's look into our database now. We're going to have to refresh. So let's click on users tutorial. It'll refresh it all. And there we go. We got ID, email, username, and password stored in the database. Now with that email address, you can copy it. And let's try to register another one. Well, with the same email again, different username. So let's say George and password 55555. Submit. Yes, it went back to the index PHP, but did it store in our database? Let's refresh. And no, it didn't. make a second one because we already used that email. So we got some validation going on. We're not going to do much validation though in this tutorial. So then for our login, okay. Where is it? So yeah, code driven. So let's go down here. Create the login form. Number 5, let's copy that. And our Visual Studio Code below. Control V that in. We still have to change some things, I think. So we have a class, an action, method, post, login, name, email, password. So just email and password here. Submit login. So copy that. Well, we don't need to copy that because actually just save it. And so let's handle the submission of our login. Let's copy. Go to the top again. Let's go underneath and Control V, paste that in. So if the submit login has been submitted using the isSet function, we require the database again. We catch the email entered and the password. So if it's empty, let's just copy that header. If it's empty, Control V. Okay, so then here's our query. Select all from user table. So that's the wrong table. Let's copy this table. Okay, change the table to the correct table name. Select all from users for tutorial where email is email and password is password. We don't really need to check for the same password, so let's remove that. And well, what am I thinking? Email is email, password is password. Yeah, leave it at that. Yeah, because they have to match. Silly goose. Okay, result equals con query. So we run the query, and then we're going to fetch an associative array. Okay, so user equals result fetch associative array. If that result is equal to, with 3 equal signs, 1, we create a session. We can call it anything, or we're calling it user ID, and we're grabbing a user ID. So hit save, and let's go to our login. Yeah, login system. Refresh. So let's try logging in with that same email. And let's look into our database. You can see our password is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can actually copy it too. So Control C, Control V, submit. Now you might ask, how do you know if you're logged in or not? So hit inspect. Click on application over here. you see there's PHP session. Yeah, so there's a cookie created with our session, but also there's an easier way. So if you go back to our once our session is created, you can actually just echo $_ session UID, hit save, session UID. Let's copy that. Actually, that ain't gonna work. What we can do, let's just go down here above the forms. Let's just PHP echo Control V, close it off, Control save, and now where's our web page? Okay, refresh. Close this, and you see we got a number 1. What's going on here? We got this. Save that. Refresh. And you see our ID is right there for the session. So what we're doing is, with a login, we're using the ID as a value for the session itself that we created. And remember, at the top here we have a session start. It's very important. We got to have that for every page that we want to access our session super global. And this is like the most basic login system, but it works. It's not very secure. Of course, we got to, like, you know, we just got to do more encryption. So, which in the rest of the tutorial has some of that stuff. It shows you how to use prepared statements and stuff like that. So what do we got? Yeah, it's looking good though. It's working. So you might be wondering, like, you know, how to access certain pages for a logged in user. So say like you want to make a page that only login users can get to. So let's go in our root page and create private _ page.php, and what we want to do then is create if, well, first of all, open up PHP and close, and let's say if is set, and then inside of the function, we don't use the semicolon inside of an is set. So if the session is set, and by the way, session _ start function at the very top of the page. So if it's at the session UID, let's say if not is set. So if it is not set, then we do a header. And then location. Index.php. So it'll always just keep sending you back to the index.php, whereas the login page is, if the session is not set. What is this error? What could the problem be? Here it is. So forgot to put a semicolon right there. Save. So if it's at the session with UID, if it is set, if not is set, then it'll go to the header location index. Then all we gotta do is an else under that. Then we can just put in like some HTML, H2, hello secret page, H2, echo that out. And save. Let's go to the private page.php. Okay, it works. Didn't spell right, but HELLO. Hello secret page, alternate tab, and yes, so if we log out, that'll destroy the session. So down here, I'm just gonna destroy the session, which is just session destroy function. So let's refresh. See, since the session was destroyed, undefined index UID in line 72. Index line 72. Yeah, that's because it's not set anymore. So you probably want to do a if is set for this as well, so we can copy like go back to index, PHP, Control V. Save that. Refresh. Oh, remove that. Exclamation mark. Refresh. And it's gone. So, it works. Let's log in. But first, before we log in, look. I'm gonna type in protected page dot PHP and not found. Not found. What we can do is in that private page in the header, let's not forget to put a dot / because then it goes to the root folder. Oh, it's private page. Private page.php, and I'm going to copy it too. Let's refresh, and it sends it there. So I'm going to paste in that private page again. We're trying to go to it, but it takes us back to index.php because what we programmed it to do. It's saying that if the session is not set, the location will go back to index.php. Else, so it means if it is set, echo hello secret page, and you'll stay on that page. So let's try log again. Joe _ 3 4 5 6 7 8. And then when we paste that in, what was the password? 89. So I'm going to add a 9. Oops. Joe 789. See, we got the ID. Let's try to go to our private page and hello secret page. That's all there is to it. Alright, hope you enjoyed, guys. Please leave a like, subscribe, and have a good one.